what's it going to take to win the SEC? Because it's a weird climate, isn't it? Like, I was on Radio Row during SEC Media Days and talking to a lot of different people. Got a great question. Someone said, this is the year of blank in the SEC. Fill in the blank, JD. Thought about it for a second. Not too long because we were on the air, but I thought about it for a second, and I was like, you know what? This is the year of uncertainty. The reason why, we've been beaten to death, the exact same talking point all off season long. We don't know a lot of these top quarterbacks at top institutions across the SEC. Like the teams that you would typically coin as the big dogs or the favorites in Vegas, like Texas favored to win the conference, they have a new starting quarterback in Arch Manning. Georgia, same deal with Gunnar Stockton. Alabama, think it's Ty Simpson. No real idea. Tennessee, they're breaking a new quarterback after making the playoff last year, but he didn't get spring practice, and Joey Aguilar. So there's a lot of moving pieces here. What's going to make a massive impact on determining who actually wins this conference is which roster around a new starting quarterback allows for the smoothest learning curve. Another way to say that, who has the best spotter in the conference? All right, because if you're asking your quarterback to jump on that bench and throw up 2-3 plates from game one, like, I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying you might pull something. Might not be the smoothest way to go about doing things. But if your defense at Texas can give Arch Manning some time to figure it out. Okay, hey, Arch, don't need 300 yards against Ohio State. Take it easy. Couple of throws here, throws there that are on the money. Play in rhythm, play on time. You don't have to make the big play. Like, just let the game come to you. We're going to be in good shape. Same thing at Georgia. Same thing at Alabama. You see where I'm going with this. Whoever gives that quarterback the opportunity to eventually have it click come like October, then the quarterback obviously has to go do it. But whichever roster is best positioned to do that, or whichever roster allows the quarterback to do that, of those teams that are breaking in new dudes, that's going to, I think, have a massive impact on this conference title race. Now, I say that to also make sure we mention there's a lot of teams in this conference that are sitting back and saying, well, we got our guy. We feel good about our dude. LSU probably the leading example of this. Garrett Nussmeier, he came back. He told us at SC Media Days he came back to lead LSU to a national championship. That's what it's about this year. So you would have to think in doing that, you'd probably pick up an SEC title along the way. Is that happening? I don't know, but I mean, it feels like this is the year to go do it. Like, I mean, Florida, same thing. Georgia's got a new quarterback. Texas got a new quarterback. Florida, you bring back DJ Lagway. And I don't want to give my opinion on that right now, but I am just saying from a fan base level in Gainesville, you think you have a dude to go get it done. The opportunity is right freaking there. A&M, same thing with Marcel Reed. Oklahoma, we talked ad nauseum around Oklahoma and John Mateer. Now, I know they're still breaking him in, and he technically, I guess, qualifies as a new starter for that football team, but not a new offense for him. Like Oklahoma, I'm just saying, they could be one of those teams. South Carolina, Lenora Sellers, I've told you how great I feel about that dude and his ability. There is definitely a hypothetical reality we could live in where Lenora Sellers just has a Heisman Trophy level season, takes the year over, and just Jan sports South Carolina all the way to the college football playoff, and dare I say, maybe to Atlanta. Is that happening? I don't know, but this is the year. You hear what I'm saying? This is the year where you take some of those teams that maybe aren't the usual suspects or teams that were near the top of the standings last year to kind of strike because of the fact that they feel good about who they have at quarterback, or at the very least, they have some certainty at quarterback. Now, I think it's also important for us to mention this. Who can avoid stubbing their toe? And that's kind of an obvious thing to say when you talk about the conference title race or a college football playoff race. But last year, dog, it was a mixer at Club 9-3. Ole Miss, why were you in the Club 9-3? Because you stubbed your toe to freaking Kentucky. I love Kentucky. My heart is with KSR. Every fiber of my being loves that site. But, like, you shouldn't lose to Kentucky, Ole Miss, when you got a first-round quarterback in Jackson Dart. I digress. South Carolina, same deal. Started the year slow. Stubbed their toe. I mean, I say stub their toe, not probably the right way to say that, but had some losses they probably otherwise wouldn't have had if they had Lenore Sellers at his level in November the entirety of the season. So you're on the back door of the college football playoff, banging, trying to get in. Wasn't happening. Sorry, 9-3 for you at that mixer. Alabama losing to Vandy and Oklahoma. If Alabama wins the games where they're the more talented football team, they're 11-1 in the college football playoff a year ago. However, it wasn't how it went. So I think stubbing your toe, a lot of that goes to culture and focus and all those things, which it's hard to quantify right now. I think we have to look at depth if we want to talk about not stubbing your toe, especially in the month of late October and into November. Like, that's going to, I think, position these teams to be in Atlanta for the SEC title game in and of itself. So who can strain, who can push through the furthest, who can have that too deep step up when they need it to the most late in the season. That's going to, I think, have a massive impact on what I just said, who plays for the conference championship. You don't believe me? Look at who played for the conference championship last year. We were all talking about, who's going to play for the SEC, and it's this team, it's that team, and it's madness. It's A&M and Texas playing for a spot in the conference, and then it's the two deepest teams in the conference with Texas and Georgia at the end of that thing. Depth matters in all of college football, but especially in the SEC. All right? So, who's playing for the conference championship? I'm going to take the two teams that I think, based on everything I just told you, are best positioned to be in Atlanta. I told you a lot of new quarterbacks, not at LSU. Garrett Nussmeier went for 4,000 yards last year without a run game. Just carried LSU's offense. Was phenomenal. Goes into his second year in Joe Sloan's system. They got him better weapons. I think that defense is a lot better than most folks would like to give credit. They have some continuity under Blake Baker. I love everything around LSU, plus the top two portal class that they brought in, plus the workable schedule. You look at LSU's schedule, there is no real super grimy, gritty stretch where you say, massive letdown spot there. Oh, hey, that's tough. They got Bama, and then they got to play there's no crazy stretch there for LSU to where I say, all right, if they can just find a way to grit their teeth and split, I don't have any stretch on LSU's schedule that worries me all that much. So that plus the most proven thing in all of college football at quarterback and Garrett Nussmeier, they will be in Atlanta. Who are they going to play? They're going to play Texas. What I just said, man, they have, I think, established a gap from a talent and depth standpoint between themselves and everyone else on their schedule not named Georgia. Reason why? Steve Sarkisian. And we say this a lot, but I know a lot of y'all are going to watch this show because it's our prediction show, so thank you for that. Again, make sure you subscribe. But Steve Sarkisian, when he got to Texas, reputation was QB guru, offensive play caller, all those things. That wasn't Texas's identity last year. Quinn Ewers is out there playing with half an oblique a season ago, and they are just off-roading their way to playing in Atlanta for the SEC championship. They have recruited a top-tier line of scrimmage, and I know they lost a lot of guys from that offensive line last year. Steve Sarkisian is not worried about it. How do I know that? They didn't go to the portal and just rebuild that offensive line. They could have. Hear me clearly. Texas, if they wanted to, they got the greenbacks to go do that. Steve Sarkisian did not do that. I think they have the best combination of top-tier quarterback, top-tier roster, quite frankly, top-tier head coach who's taken two different teams to the college football playoff the last 2 years in two different formats. You hear what I'm saying? I think Texas and their depth is a massive reason why they get to LSU's, to play LSU rather in Atlanta for the SEC championship. So, who wins the SEC? Because Texas and LSU, by them both playing for the conference title, pretty safe to assume they're both making the college football playoff in this scenario we've dialed up here. Man, it just feels like LSU's year to me. At least as far as the conference slate and conference title game is concerned, it just feels like LSU's year to me. And I think Texas is going to be really freaking good. But if you put Texas and LSU on the same field after they've both beaten each other up and beaten themselves up for the entirety of 12 games, they meet in Atlanta for the conference, I'm going to go ahead and say I lean towards Garrett Nussmeier as the quarterback I trust more. Why? Because Garrett Nussmeier has done this all for 1 year already. To keep it a buck, failed at it. LSU was thinking college football playoff towards the end of October when they played A&M. Failed at it. Why? Took their eye off the ball. You point to Garrett Nussmeier and some decision-making issues. The Alabama game was egregious when they came to Baton Rouge and took that thing over. He knows what it feels like to fail. And I think because of that, you have a great learning opportunity that was last year. Look in the mirror, get it right. You know what it feels like now, and I think that him walking into this spot against Texas, as the quarterback in this spot against Texas, the most important part of this whole equation, I think that makes the difference. Now you're saying, JD, but Texas, can't you say the same thing for them? They lost last year in the conference title game to Georgia. Don't they have that learning opportunity? They do, but there's a lot of pieces you're replacing, especially on the offense, breaking a new quarterback. The actual people on the field, to me, the learning curve there and the newness you're going to feel in that spot, I just lean LSU here. I just lean LSU. So we'll take LSU to win the SEC in 2025. Feel pretty good about doing it.